Well, minutes after I ended the last live stream because it wasn't happening, well, guess what happened? Bitcoin hit 100,000, at least based on what I can see here. I just need to add the screen, and we got to mark this because it's a historic day. Yeah, so like you can see here, it says the high was 100,267. So like, yeah, that's it. I mean, for the very first time in history, Bitcoin has traded, somebody somewhere paid over $100,000 for an entire Bitcoin, some part of a Bitcoin, but it happened, folks. It happened. You see there, 100,000. Now it's currently trading for slightly underneath it, but still, yeah, there it is again. Over 100. There we are, folks. $100,000. Who could have imagined? Anthony, you were right. You were right. I literally was like, I'm gonna just go back and get back on. Like, but literally, like, maybe it took that. Maybe I had to give up on it for it to go over 100. Maybe that was the tipping point. Maybe that was the tipping point to us going over. Like, if I had stayed on, maybe it would have just gone. But like, what happened? Like, I mean, it's crazy. Look at the trade here. Just look at this. Look at that. I mean, I literally went off, and it's almost like the universe was like, yeah, let's bid it higher. I mean, I literally went off at 98.2, and then it just shot straight up to 100K. And now let's see, like, what is going to happen here? Like, are we going to, let's see if my theory, which is like, this is what I said, which is that once you get to 100K, like the same thing that we're all like, feeling, which is like, wow, how crazy is that? This thing called Bitcoin, which is, I mean, comes about in 2009 and goes through, 2010, 2011, it's called a scam. It's called for criminals. People are trying to destroy it. Governments are trying to destroy it. And here it is, folks. People are paying $100,000 for it. $100,000, right? Yeah, let's just keep refreshing. I think I can put this on auto refresh there at 15 seconds. And then we'll continue to, I just need to scroll this up a little bit higher so you can see it. At $100,000. In fact, it's 100,000. We've already gotten to 100,220. So there it is, folks. 100,000. Those of you who were with me at Banyan Hill, I don't know if you remember, but I mean, we had a lot of people that hated that we put Bitcoin into the portfolio. And I remember our team, we had, I had an amazing person that helped me write, and her name was Jacqueline. And I remember we crafted this, the episode, the newsletter, and I talked about my dad in India and how, I mean, growing up in India, I mean, the Indian rupee was not something you could leave your money in. It lost pretty much all its value every 7 to 10 years. I mean, all its value. And so what did we have to as a store of value in India at the time? Land. And the part of India that I come from, the land has coconuts, so it would generate some small amount of money. You could go and harvest the coconuts. And I think Jacqueline was there was a headline that said, something about coconuts, and I thought it was pretty funny. But listen, I mean, for us, obviously, we have choices like the stock market. Okay, the US dollar has lost a lot of value, but among other currencies, there you go. It's 101,000. 101,000 already hit. So I, definitely, what I was telling you, which is that once you get these big markers, I'll try and get more information onto this chart. Um, Once you get one of these big markers hit, people come in, and want to buy. Um, so like, yeah, anyway, I mean, for the world to have access to a store of value where you don't need like, I don't know, you don't need to buy land because, to buy land, I mean, you got to have like a lot of money. You got to go through, I don't know, 32 governments. I mean, the state government, the local government, you got to pay property taxes on a regular basis. So, yeah, I mean, this is definitely a historic moment. And that's why I wanted to be like, hey, I was off. I'm not going to wait till tomorrow morning. I'm just going to come right back on. And I think you're right. I had to I had to go off and come back on. Let me feature some of the comments here. Many of the folks who are on the live stream have popped back in, so thanks for sticking around. It was about 5 minutes. Anthony, he did. You go back on the old live stream. He's like, it's gonna hit as soon as you end, and that's exactly what happened. Applause from Alex. Thank you, sir. And I hope most people who are with me from Banyan Hill, I hope they kept their Bitcoin. I hope they kept their Bitcoin because, yeah, it's at 101 and shooting higher, right? And shooting higher. Look at that. It's going to go to 102, right? So, yeah, in the fall of 2020, yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I really was like definitely guessing, but I'm way more informed, educated, and researched about Bitcoin than I was back then. I've done so much more work, and I feel so much more comfortable now in understanding the pattern, the cycle, the cadence of what's going on, and we are prepped. I mean, if you are looking for Bitcoin guidance, definitely consider joining ATG Digital. I mean, because like I have done the work. I've put together a model. Obviously, it has to be proven out, but I think, I think we probably have it down, as much as we can. I don't think it's going to be perfectly precise, but I think like we are definitely going to know what's there, and we'll give you the information. In the ATG Digital Silver Tier portfolio, where we own Bitcoin, we're probably going to hold it through $1 million. I know that sounds crazy because I mean, the cycle says that the next high is, the model high is 10 million. I mean, sorry. Yeah, is going to be 10 million. So, I mean, yeah, it sounds crazy to talk about 1 million or 10 million. We've just crossed 100,000. But listen, I mean, that's where I think it's going to go. Tammy, hey, yeah, 100,000 and it's here. I mean, 101,000 and we're not so far from 102,000. I think so. I mean, the price behavior of human beings in markets is that 100,000, you know what's going to happen shortly, right? Every social media channel is going to, like going to talk about Bitcoin hitting 100,000. It's going to be everywhere. What is that going to do? It's going to bring attention. What is it going to make people feel like? Damn, that idiot Paul, he was saying that all the time. I should have bought it. I should have held on. And oh my God, you know what? Let me buy. And then you just imagine waves of buying driven by the feeling that they should have bought it well before, they should have made money, they coulda, shoulda, woulda, and people come in and they will push this, if I'm right. And this is based on price behavior from like markets, like some of these old books, they really have great psychological profiles of how people buy. Like people like don't focus on psychology, but I focus extensively on psychology. And it says that once you get these round numbers, prices move up by 20 to 30%, and then they pull back. But I would say, like, given how like sort of like tortuous that period from like 90, almost 100 to 90. Like, it was just like there was a really grind. I will say that this pullback, when it comes from 125, 130, is going to be short. And then we will rocket higher. I can definitely see 150K coming up. I don't even think it'll take until January, because remember, at 150, at 100K, it's saying that there are no more sellers, right? That like we're able to push this down below 100, right? So they're essentially every single person, every human that has held on to Bitcoin from the very beginning is in profit. And what is the thing that keeps people in a position? Well, it's profit. You go looking, oh, yeah, I mean, I'm making money. I'm okay. I'm going to leave that alone, right? So that means very few sellers and more people on the outside looking in, be like, my neighbor, he's in Bitcoin. Damn, that's 100,000. My relative, my uncle, my whatever. I mean, like he was telling me about Bitcoin. So there's a lot of people that are going to feel like they shoulda, coulda, woulda. They represent future demand. In the previous live stream, I laid out my price forecast, which is a peak of $1 million between the end of October and early December, followed by a crash in 2026 back to $200,000-$300,000. Welcome, sir, and thank you for showing up for this live stream. 110K waiting room. Hey, listen, folks, that could happen tonight. I mean, it was at 98. We ended the last live stream because I don't know if you can hear, but my throat's a little bit hoarse, and I was saving it for when this was going to happen. And then we ended it, and literally, like I think 2 minutes later, we were at 100K. I mean, I saw it starting to move up, and it was a very aggressive. So I mean, somebody clearly like made a very deliberate decision to go in and pump this higher. Yeah, I mean, in other words, they're like, hey, we're going to take this higher, because you can see the bid and ask. And so like, if you want a certain amount, of Bitcoin, you're going to have to pay up. Let's see if we can find where is this here? I showed this tab earlier. And you can see the difference. If you can go back to the previous live stream, you'll see that in the previous live stream, the red side, which is all the sell orders, was like a giant cliff. But now what you're seeing is there's a buying cliff on the left-hand side. You see? And that is the price behavior that I was telling you, which is like, once you get past that threshold, everybody wants in. Everybody wants in, right? So like we could get to, we could get to 105, 110 with no problem. No problem at all. Let me scroll this so we can see where we are. You can see where right in the middle here. So you can the red is all the sell orders, and the stuff in the middle is where the price is set. So we're at about 101,000, something in that range. Yeah. So I mean, my theory on price, which is based on price psychology of human beings, is that, yeah, a bunch of buyers will come in now. There'll be even more buyers tomorrow morning. And the day after that, there's going to be even more. And then this just, pushes out to 120, 130. And then there will be at some point profit taking, but the profit taking is going to be from short termers that they don't own enough, right? I mean, because they've all mostly come in. The folks that wanted to sell, they sold at 99.8. You saw that big move down from 99.8 to 99. That was the last of the old sellers. A few of those will still be left, but most of the selling is going to be from short termers that don't own that much. So they can't push it down that much. So we're still in the golden period for gains. And as I said, my price forecast is for the peak to be $1 million, somewhere between the end of October and early December next year, followed by a crash in 2026. That you can see this cyclical pattern, but we don't have to worry about that until later. We have to enjoy this. Congratulations! I agree. Hey, congratulations, everyone that owns Bitcoin, that held through that brutal crypto winter. I mean, well done to all of you. I mean, we were at what, 70 and we went back down to 15. Right? I mean, that was pretty brutal. And remember, like, not only was it like brutal in price terms, but remember all the scandals: FTX, Celsius, Voyager, Three Arrows Capital. I mean, all the stuff, all that, like, just bad news coming one after the other. And you guys, you held strong. You held strong. And look at this. And look at this. 100,000, folks. 100 G's. 100. I don't want to curse. I mean, people might be offended, but put the F in there. 100 G's. 100 G's. So, like, yeah, I mean, great. This is a great day. And I was saying earlier, like, truthfully, back in 2020, I was definitely much more guessing. I feel far more comfortable, far more confident, based on an extraordinary amount of work that I have done over these last 2 years on Bitcoin. That I feel, yeah, I mean, it sounds, I mean, a million sounds as ludicrous as 50,000 in 2020, but I feel much more confident and comfortable that there's like some real basis for what I was saying. Whereas back then, Bitcoin was sort of new. Even halving wasn't like so fully understood. There was the idea of the stock to flow thing, but I don't really understand what it is. But today, I feel pretty good. That, like, all the work that I have done is setting us up for even bigger gains that are coming. Sold at 12 cents. You guys are talking about Hive Mapper. Gotcha. I think that's what you guys are talking about. I'm just like featuring the comments. Yeah, to the moon. To the moon. Yeah, I mean, imagine, like, look, this is not the peak. Another price pattern thing that I can tell you about is that when something makes a new high, the research of price is like, price behavior is this, that it will continue to keep making new highs. Now, anyone can do whatever they want, and everyone, should do whatever is right for them. Some people are going to, I guarantee you, some people are going to be like, this is it. I'm done. I hit it. Hey, good for you. Well done. You fought the good fight. You got here. That's fine. But there's more coming. And I'm certainly not planning to sell any of my Bitcoin. If you read the Substack that was written by Dean today, you know that ATG Digital, we took all the reserves. I think the team was like a little shocked that I did it, and we put it into Bitcoin because I saw it as like a better store of value than cash. And at this point in time, ATG Digital, we make enough from subscriptions to pay the bills, and I was like, hey, it's good. Well, I mean, GBTC is now an ETF and it goes up 1 for 1. And the thing about buying GBTC, especially if you added, you remember when GBTC was trading for like what, a nearly 50% discount in 2023? We definitely featured it in the Substack, and we have team members that loaded up, and ETHE was trading at like a 60% discount. So well done, and congratulations to all of you. Well done to all of you. I, of course, love it when our folks, our ATG community, nation, strong hands folks, when you guys are making money. I mean, people, say like, Paul, thank you for your knowledge. The truth is that I'm so grateful to have all of you to share it with. And I am so happy for all of you today. Take a bow, pat yourself on the back. You did good. You fought the good fight. You stuck it out. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal in 2022. I mean, and then obviously, me being terminated from Banyan Hill, I mean, in the middle of that, all of that, I mean, it couldn't have been great for all of you. And I'm sorry you all had to go through that. But I'm glad we all stuck around. And look, folks, there's more coming. There's more coming. There's more coming. Um, thank you. Yeah, I mean, hey, like I said, well done, and there is more coming. I mean, if you were listening to YouTube, I mean, I think like we definitely hit Bitcoin again and again and again and again on the Substack multiple times. Definitely, in the updates. I mean, I think in the last several months, I'm like, if you don't own crypto, I think you're going to regret it next year. This is what I've been saying. If you don't own crypto, I think you're going to regret it next year. And obviously, the most obvious crypto to own is Bitcoin. So I'm so stoked, so thrilled for all of you that you're making money, that the wait has been worth it, and there's more coming. Even though I'm saying like, hey, it's going to get to like 1 million, in my opinion, and there you crash. But like, imagine the next crash point is going to be $200,000 or $300,000. I mean, come on. I mean, how great is that, right? That's exactly right. 100 effing G's. 100 effing G's. It has definitely been a roller coaster, and it will continue to be that. But you know what? Since we got in 2020, I mean, okay, here's the thing. We put Bitcoin in when it was at 10,000. And at the time, actually, the folks at Banyan Hill were like, man, we don't think like the people that their subscribers will open up Coinbase accounts. I think you could be in Robinhood or Coinbase and then Cash App. I remember we made a special report to help people buy it, but that's why we put GBTC in. Is because everyone was like, well, if it's not a stock, people won't buy it. So 10,000 approximately is where it is. And then if you remember in 2020, I put it in, and literally a month later, what happened? The COVID crash, back to 3,500. I have to tell you, I was a nervous wreck through that. I was like, I've put myself out on a limb to recommend a cryptocurrency. A lot of people were like, you shouldn't do this. You said you'd recommend stocks. Why are we doing crypto? But even then, I had a lot of conviction about Bitcoin. I don't think I fully understood all of it. Much better understanding now, even more conviction today. No worries. We are still celebrating the 100K moment. And where are we? Let's go back to this here. Have we hit 102 yet? 101.6. 101.6 is where we are. This is still updating. We were very close to 102. This says we're still going through it. And congratulations if you own it. And well done. Wow, that's amazing. Game theory begins when U.S. approves. Yeah, I mean, that's all true. But the thing is that the cycle is more powerful than any event. In every cycle, people think that, hey, there's going to be so much demand that there won't be a crash. But the thing is that there's now, through 3 halvings, and I believe through the 4th halving that is underway, we have seen there's always a supply shock, which means there's also the reverse side. In other words, we're going to bid this up to the moon, which is eventually going to draw sellers, and there is going to be, a crash. We've seen it in post 2012. Bitcoin in that cycle goes from 1,100 back to 130. The 2016, we go to almost 20,000, back to 3,500. In 2020, we go to 70,000, back to 15,000. It's always going to be there. So yes, we will have all kinds of events, but don't lose sight. The cycle is going to dictate the price. And whoa, we are definitely heading for 102, folks. Look at that. Look at that shoot up. It's almost there. It's almost there. Thank you. I appreciate the compliments. Thank you. Hell yeah. I put 16K in at the 42K. Not a lot for most. I think that's a lot. I think a lot of people own less than that. But yeah, I mean, 16K at 42. So You're doing good. You're doing good. That's like more than double. And you know what I'm saying is we're so close to 102,000. By the way, I mean I know I should get back the straight up live stream. Give me a minute here. Let me get back up the straight up live stream. There we go. Share this tab. That's better. Yeah. So we can just enjoy that price, all 6 digits of it in all its glory. In all its glory. 100. I mean, come on. I mean, I would really like to know who actually thought we'd see $100,000. I mean, it's one thing to say these things, but then to see it like actually unfold is crazy, right? So, I mean, I don't know if you guys know about this guy. His name is Isaac. And there is now this famous video about when Bitcoin first crossed $100. And I was like, well, when we cross 100,000, I am going to show this Isaac video. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. So this video is from, I want to make sure that I get back. I want to get the sound up here, get everything set up. I just want to feature this video. So this is Isaac, by the way, in 2013, commemorating another historical moment when Bitcoin goes.
I'm right here watching history be made. Bitcoin is now up to $111. It's an all-time high, and it's continuing to rise. I've seen it break 3 times today. It went up to 110, and this is the highest that it's been. It's ridiculous. Last trade, 189 Bitcoin for $111 piece. That's amazing to me. I mean, just look at this graph. You see this graph? That's the last 3 hours. Give me a second. I'll switch it up.
Isaac is known for cutting his videos off just like that. But hey, in 2013, it was 100. In 2024, it's now 100,000. 100 effing thousand. Yeah. I mean, come on. Come on. Yeah. I haven't done anything, sir. You have bought it yourself. You took the initiative. You took the chance. You took the risk, and you held on. And you sat through brutal volatility. You sat through horrific news, especially in the last cycle. You obviously sat through me getting terminated from Banyan Hill, being banished, and you held on. So good for you. Congratulations and well done. Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I mean, listen, I mean, it's not possible always to own, you know, a full Bitcoin. But you can see even fairly small amounts at the rate at which it is going. And remember, Isaac was doing that in 2013. So that was 100. So since then, $100, right, has traveled to 1,000, 10,000. So it's added, yeah, 1, 2, 3 zeros. So, I mean, fairly small amounts, if you can give it time, can lead to very large amounts of money. Large amounts of money. I mean, look at that, 100, and we're you know, so like the price behavior I told you about is definitely underway, which is that we're on a very rapid rise to 120, 130. That's what, you know, the price psychology, price behavior says. And then from there, we'll have some sort of correction from there. But given really like, you know, that what we've gone through over the last, I mean, the last attempt at 100K, the first, like, I guess the first attempt was on November 22nd. We're on December 4th. So it's about 2 weeks later, but there was a lot of up and down and they were violent. It tells me that like we've ground through a lot of that selling, that the sell-off from 120, 130 might be sharp, but it won't be very long. And so don't get like pushed out. It's still going to be volatile. I mean, Bitcoin always will be volatile. Well, thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate the compliments. Um, well, I mean, I have told you that my judgment, my research, study, forecast, model, whatever you want to call it, prediction is that, the peak is $1 million somewhere between the end of October and early December next year. Well, truthfully, I'm also glad that the core of the folks that valued what I was doing at Banyan Hill, and I think most of the team left, but we did like the two of the last two members, which is Dan and Dean. It's Dean's wife B that suggested the idea of ATG Digital. And our current team. I mean, this is a moment to celebrate with all of them. I don't know if any of you guys are on. It's a great moment for hopefully for all of us, because we have definitely staked our credibility to some extent on Bitcoin. I mean, I've written so many Substacks about Bitcoin. I have obviously made YouTube videos about Bitcoin. I've answered a lot of questions, and wow, there you go, folks. 103,000, 103,000, 103,000. I'm obviously blubbering and going all over the place, because I'm truthfully very stoked for all of you. Genuinely so excited that if you're on this live stream, obviously in some way, shape, or form, you held on. You kept your Bitcoin. You kept your GBTC. You bought into the remember, we also put MicroStrategy in 2020. I mean, that's up 2,000%. So and you can bet, obviously, this is going to do something to MicroStrategy tomorrow, right? I mean, it's not going to open up down, right? So thank you. I appreciate this. Yes, strong hands. Well, like I said, equally, I appreciate the folks that value what our team, we bring to you. We can have whatever it is to share without an actual community that wants it, that appreciates it. We would have nothing ourselves. So I myself am very grateful to you and everyone else that is still with us on this journey, on this ride together. And as you can see, I told you, like, once you cross that 100K, people want in. The nature of financial markets is that there's more demand at higher prices. There's more demand at higher prices. And that's what is unfolding. Well done. Well done. It is 100K. It's now closing in on, I mean, it'll probably get to 105. I mean, yeah, it is definitely going to be a roller coaster. That has always been true. And it will always be true. So love all the comments, love the sentiment and the mood that's in here. XRP now. Well, I mean, we're gonna have, I think I wrote a Substack, I think it was 2 weeks ago, saying that 2025 is the year of crypto. We're going to see a crypto boom driven by adoption, driven by mass acceptance, something like this, a price like this. That come tomorrow, people are going to be talking about this, right? I mean, this is going to be on social media. This is going to be on television. This is going to be on even old school legacy media. What does that do? Well, it drives interest and drives attention. And then what do some number of those people do? Well, they'll come to buy. They'll come to buy. So yeah, I mean, well done, sir. Well done, and congratulations. Well done, and congratulations. Diamond hands, yes. I mean, for Bitcoin, we have definitely held fast. I mean, anybody that went through 2022, whether it be me being cut, my contract being terminated, with no notice, all the crap that was going on at the time, FTX, Celsius, all that crap, to hold through that, it took guts. Congratulations. Well done. You guys, the epitome of strong hands. I'm so proud of you. Yeah. Well, I mean, if I'm right, that comes at the peak sometime next year. And then the price behavior is that like you see it once, you get a little taste of it, which brings in, of course, a ton of people. They mark the top, and then you got to wait like another 3 years before it comes again. Many people say, Paul, why can't you trade it? The thing is that like, hey, you don't really know. Once you sell out of something, will you have the money to buy back in? Will you know what the exact price to buy back in? Will you find other uses for it? Will you have the desire to go through all of that again? You never know. So in ATG Digital Silver tier, we're going to hold on to Bitcoin and keep it in the portfolio. But another zero is coming, in my judgment, in my opinion. 102 and closing in on 103. Did we get to 103? Let me see. Oh my God, we got to 104. Yeah, I was not clearly. I'm like looking through the comments and back and forth, but like already you can see crazy volatility going on everywhere. Is it possible that U.S. government suppresses price after implementing strategic reserves? Yeah, I mean, many people, model their thoughts on Bitcoin to gold. The thing is, like, gold was a physical commodity where you could control a lot of things. How can you control the Bitcoin price? I mean, Bitcoin doesn't really have. I mean, it doesn't care what it's priced in. It's not. I mean, they're just churning out these blocks, producing these coins. It has no value. I mean, they're just producing blocks. How are you going to control the price? It's not really possible. People can pay whatever they want for it. So, I mean, remember, Bitcoin is not denominated in dollars. It's denominated in Bitcoin. I mean, it just produces Bitcoin. It's just continually processing blocks, every day. So this is not really possible. Thank you, sir, and well done to you, and congratulations. I appreciate everything you wrote. Thank you, and congratulations, and well done to you. I really don't deserve the congratulations, truthfully. You, all of you. I mean, just the last 3 years have been brutal, right? I mean, not just Bitcoin. I mean, other stocks, everything. Obviously, me getting cut from Banyan Hill, being sent into the wilderness, putting together an operation like ATG Digital, very quickly with thanks to our amazing team. You guys really deserve this, and I really hope that you pat yourself on the back. It was not easy to go through what you did over the last 3 years. You deserve so much credit, and I'm so proud, so stoked for all of you. But thank you for writing that. 103. Hey, I mean, we saw 104. So, like, I mean, who knows where we'll be? I mean, come tomorrow. I mean, what's everybody doing that's not in Bitcoin today? They're like, oh my God, I should have bought. Everyone's gonna have somebody that told them. Everybody's gonna have somebody that owns some, and I mean, there's going to be some mixture of what? I mean, instead of FUD, there's going to be a lot of greed, a lot of envy, and a lot of regret. That's what you're going to have, and that is only going to rise as the price keeps going higher. Absolutely. I also want to mention there are other folks on our team. B, of course, who handles pretty much like the website, technology, all the operational stuff. There's Dean, there's Dan, there's Nicole. I'm all over the place. I just got to look it up. There's Charlene, there's Claudia, and there's Alexis. All of you, great job, and thank you. So that our community here that you can see, they could participate in this. So thank you to all of you. Again, I appreciate the compliments, but really, you guys are the GOAT. You had to stay in there, right? I mean, I take a lot of heat, but like, I'm sure you guys get, obviously our internal thing, like, what am I doing at 15,000? Everybody's like, what am I doing here? I should just get. Lots of people, I'm sure you'll have to admit, you doubted, you weren't sure, but you held fast. You believed, you had conviction and you held fast. And so you are the GOAT. You are the GOAT. But thank you. I agree. I agree. Congratulations and well done. And yes, to the moon, sir. No, no, no. You are the man. You guys, like I keep saying, you held on. It was a very, very brutal crypto winter, brutal cycle. And yeah, I mean, you guys held on, and this is, and remember, there's more to come. There's more to come. New highs beget new highs. And the best part of the biggest, steepest part of the cycle is still coming. The supply shock period begins in month 7, and it goes for anywhere between sort of like 10, 11 to 12, 13 months. It's not like so precise because the cycles are slightly different, but there's more coming. There's more coming. Congratulations and well done. Yes, diamond hands indeed. Congratulations and well done. Nice job to you and well done to you. I'm so curious to see where, when we end this stream, where we'll be at. Um, uh, Thank you, and I appreciate that. And like I keep saying, we can have knowledge, we can have understanding, but if you have any of this and you have no one to give it to, no one to share it with, life's sort of like, what's the point? So I'm very grateful for the community that now we have at ATG Digital and those folks who are with us. And like now we don't have like any, I don't know, like, I mean, one thing at Banyan Hill is like there was so much marketing and there was so much of all of that. Like now we just keep it simple. We just try and find investments that we think will hopefully make you money. It's never going to be perfect. I'm always going to get some amount of things wrong, but we're also going to get enough right where you can benefit. And it's what I've always said. If you get like a few really, really right, it can completely change your life. Completely change your life. So, but thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm grateful that you have held on and continue to be part of our community and group. Yeah, somebody asked me this on the previous live stream, and I said, look, it's year end. People tend to cash out. It's up very rapidly since the election. They trade on the over-the-counter exchange. It's illiquid. If somebody wants to take a position out, it's 20% down. There's nobody that's going to come, and there's no market making. There's no anything. So that's what, in my opinion, what is going on with that. Thank you to you, Raul, is a very, very regular live stream attendee. So thank you to you and congratulations. Is Michael Saylor going to speak to Microsoft Board about Bitcoin? He already has. He did a 3-minute presentation, and apparently they asked him for a follow-up. But my view is that like these large companies, they're going to be quite conservative. Something like this will make them a little bit more serious. But remember, they have to go through their board. Their boards are generally filled with people from traditional finance, from regular banks, who are still, I'm going to say, going to be suspicious, careful, wary of Bitcoin. And so I doubt that the implementation of Bitcoin is going to be from the top down, meaning I don't think the big companies are going to drive it. I think there's going to be smaller companies, kind of like MicroStrategy, and mid-sized companies. That's where we will get the adoption and implementation. Well, congratulations to you and well done, and good job sticking it out through a very brutal crypto cycle. When this adds the extra zero, well, it very much depends on you, right? I mean, maybe if you feel like retirement is near, or you have some large debts, etc., and you need fiat currency, maybe it's your time to cash out, or maybe cash some of them out. It's up to you. I can tell you, if you're an ATG Digital subscriber, we'll definitely feel like, hey, we think, the model suggests that this is somewhere at or near the high. And we also are not just making that based on price, but we also have like the number of days from previous cycles. So We'll tell you what we think, and from there, we're not your financial advisor. That's not a cop out. That's just reality, because you have to look at your financial situation and say, hey, what's the right thing for me? What's the right thing to do? Certainly for me, if I'm not planning to sell my Bitcoin, I will definitely cash out of maybe some of the others, maybe MicroStrategy and others. Why? Because I really, it's like, okay, let's say I'm right. Bitcoin goes to 1 million, goes back to 250,000 in 2026. But then, like, I got to get back in. You cash out, you use the money for something else. Also, like, it's very difficult to buy when things are making lows, right? It's a real leap of faith. You're like, what if it goes down another 10%? I'll wait. And then it jumps up another 10%. You're like, I'll wait for it to come back down. And it jumps up another 10%. And now suddenly you're on the outside looking in. So these questions, I think it's easiest if you always attach your selling to something that you want to do. Hey, I want to pay down my debt. I want to pay down my house. Hey, I in retirement, I worked out my number. This is my nut. I need to do it. And like these calculations, we will, you'll have to do for yourself and determine. We provide information. We provide ideas. From there, you have to adapt it to your risk profile, your financial profile, and decide what is right for you. Yeah, that maybe, I mean, like maybe, in 20 years, it was like, there's this dude, and like, yeah, I mean, like Isaac, I mean, like Isaac's now a legend. That video has been watched millions and millions of times. They even created an NFT of that video, which sold quite well. And, sometimes when, definitely through the down periods, I just think Isaac at 100, right? 100. And Isaac, hey, 2013, right? I mean, so that's in that cycle, by the way, in the 2012 halving, Bitcoin goes to $1,132 and then crashes back to 130. Yeah, Isaac, yeah, he's a legend. Yeah, I mean, and he's puts up new videos. He still owns his Bitcoin. So, I mean, dude's complete legend. Yeah, I mean, in both the previous live stream and in this one, I've laid out my price, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, forecast, model, theory, prediction, which is that suggests that the peak is somewhere around 1 million, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit under. And it comes between the end of October and early December next year. And then in 2026, you have the usual crash that follows, where it goes down to somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000. That's what I have consistently have said. Buying more in the teens like a maxi. I don't really know what that means. In the teens. I mean, maybe you bought like Bitcoin when it was, 15, 16. Well done if you did that. That takes some guts, and I hope you did. I mean, we definitely. You can go back and look at our Substacks, and we definitely, through the lows, said buy. This is an opportunity, and I told you to buy. What about Mara pre-market? I mean, everything's probably going to rip open higher tomorrow, and I would tell you to be wary of jumping in, because remember, the prices in the stock market are set by intermediaries, market makers. And so if they see a huge interest in the pre-market, they will mark the stuff up, and then they know the demand is not going to be there the rest of the day, and then the price will trail back down. So don't jump in, with enthusiasm. Always understand that there is somebody there, like, essentially watching you, and be like, oh, you want to pay 50? Sure. You want to pay 60? Sure. But unless there are more buyers willing to come at 60 and 62, the stock at either the next day, or that day or later on, will trail back to wherever that median point is where the buyers are. Which is why, like, oftentimes if you see a gap open, especially in the morning when it opens up, you'll see the thing fade into that gap. And that's because the market makers, they see you. They see all those orders and they mark the price up. And then, of course, during the day, that demand falls off and the price can go down. Now, if they've gone short, they cover. So if there's a huge bump up into anything, yeah, you probably want to just be like, hey, I'm going to chill out before you jump in to buy anything associated in the stock market. I forgot. Did we make Strong Hands T-shirts? I can't remember. I think we did, didn't we? I have forgotten. Similar Scientific, yeah, I mean, they have been putting their reserves into Bitcoin, and they will probably see a bit up tomorrow as people sort of like know about them. But once again, the same thing I said about Marathon Digital applies to anything in the stock market. Be wary of that first rip in the morning. That is them seeing all these accumulated orders driven by excitement. They will mark it up. And from there, unless there are more and more and more and more buyers at some point in time, maybe it's tomorrow, the day after, you'll see a fade down. And you want to wait that out. You don't want to be the buyer that is like pushing the thing to the high price. You're welcome, sir. When will real estate be put on a blockchain like the DOT of California did it with Aave? Actually, it was with Avalanche, not Aave. And do I think that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac would do something like on the blockchain? I mean, I think long term it's inevitable. But like all innovation happens, first a little bit slowly because there's all the entrenched ways of doing things. There's all the people who benefit from that way of doing things. They will fight it. So I mean, nothing will happen like that. It will come in small drips at first. And then, like it'll be slowly, and then, much later on, it's suddenly. So I think, with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, we first want to see these things come out of conservatorship. And it's much more likely that they would do it if they were private companies and they were incented to do it. Are there companies that provide loans on Bitcoin? Yes, there are. I don't know offhand. I do know one. I think they're called Unchained. I have never lent out my Bitcoin. I've always felt like, well, if this is the world's premier store of value asset, yeah, I don't really feel like loaning it out. I'd truthfully rather borrow money and provide collateral on other assets that are far less scarce. That's been my viewpoint on that. But there are definitely companies that do provide loans on Bitcoin, but you do have to be worried because I think like if you don't pay, on time, etc., they have the right to liquidate. And I've never really wanted that option. Sort of like jumping over my head. Me too, as well, Tammy. 3D Systems has been in the portfolio since 2016, but I will say that with reshoring becoming even more prominent, I think that 3D printing companies, their time will finally be here in 2025. Is this still live? Yes, absolutely. This is still live. If you're watching, and this must be Dean. Hey, Dean. Dean is on, and we actually have these free crypto resources that you can get access to. We also have a crypto course that I recorded. We try to make it pretty friendly to kind of like what people would want to know, keep it pretty basic. So check that out itself as well. And that will be on the place to do it is atgdigital.media. That's the actual website where you can find all of that. Follow you to ATG. Keep up the good fight, and the same with you, and the same to all of you. 2022 was brutal. Obviously for Bitcoin, obviously for crypto, obviously for our stocks, obviously for like everything that you had paid for, subscriptions, lifetime subscriptions. I'm very sorry that all of you had to go through that. As I've said, my contract was essentially terminated with no notice. I mean, essentially the first time I was told was the day I was terminated, and the team was chopped off that same day. So if you made it through, congratulations, well done. Went through a very hard time, came through and held fast in this investment. I mean, whatever you own, it's going to be worth more through sometime next year. And then if you're got enough time, and we'll be back, because like, hey, we'll have to do this, right? So if I'm right, there's one more zero. We'll have to mark the $1 million moment, right? But that we'll know is somewhere at or near the peak. We'll know that's the peak. So that'll be a little bit, more mixed feelings versus this one, where I think it's unbridled joy, unbridled happiness for what is going on. Dean, thank you. This is the crypto course that we have. If you're interested, it is not super technical. I think we took a bunch of questions, really, from a lot of them from current subscribers, and tried to put that into a course. So check that out. You can also access it through the website. Was the course free for ATG members? It is not free for ATG members. I think it is extra. Definitely is extra. I truthfully, B and Dean are the masters of like pretty much the operations of ATG Digital, so they could definitely answer it. And Dean, if you're on, maybe you can answer it in the comments, or B, if you're on. Discovered Paul, thank you. Well, you got in at a very good time. You got in at a very good time a year ago. Yeah, I mean, so many stocks were at their lows. I mean, and crypto was so much lower. So well done and congratulations to you. 1999 is the crypto course. Thank you. The course is $19.99. Thank you, Dean, or B, whoever's there. I wish I could get more folks on, but I didn't set it up. Truthfully, as you'll see if you go on the YouTube website, I mean, I got on thinking that it was going to happen, and then I don't know, my throat was getting hoarse, and it was 9:30, and then we went off, and literally 3 minutes later, it just rocketed higher past 100. I literally went running back to the camera. I was like, I'm just going to go on because, hey, this is the moment, right? To wait till tomorrow morning wouldn't be quite the same. It's a historic moment, $100,000. Folks, Bitcoin is at $100,000. $100,000. I mean, this so-called joke of a currency, this thing that they've been trying to kill in some way, shape, or form, can't do it. Yeah, they can't do it. And look at that stream. I mean, I'm streaming a stream from X. That's got 1 million views. So that this price, this price is headed higher sooner. I mean, I think the peak for let's see what the peak was. I'll put this up. The peak was 104. So 104,000 was the peak right now. But yeah, I mean, everyone is going to be talking about this tomorrow. It will be everywhere. Anyone that was planning to, because they're like, oh, I think I'll get in at 80, 90. They're like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of buying capitulation that happens over this side. I'm on the other side of the use date, so I went with ARKB instead of Bitcoin. Well, congratulations. I mean, hey, you're in, and ARKB is going to go up. It's 1-for-1. It's an ETF. So you did good, sir, and congratulations. My son went with Bitcoin, other crypto, been with Paul since 2019. Best investing in for. I appreciate the compliment, but well done to you, and congratulations for sticking it out. Let's see here. Speaking of market makers, do you see a future where the likes of Ripple and others perfect automated market making. Can we pledge our crypto and generate yield as market makers ourselves? I mean, crypto has automated market making platforms which have tokens. Truthfully, I am not crazy sophisticated in using all of those things. There are probably ways to do something like what you're saying. I do know that, for example, yield farming is a thing. I don't do it. This is like where you deposit your tokens, and then essentially you put your tokens on deposit. They pay you whatever 5-7% interest, and then they also lend you 70% of it, which you can then take and put it again in the same thing, and you just essentially run this again and again. So there's a lot of things in crypto land that you can do. They obviously involve some level of risk. They obviously require some level of sophistication that is truthfully beyond what I know or engage in. And I don't know if that's like, what we're going to focus on. I mean, ours is pretty simple, which is sort of like trying to find investments that meet what we call the OGI, which is looking at opportunity, looking at growth, looking at innovation, being somewhat early, looking for very big gains, and then holding on for them. And knowing that a few big winners can really change your financial profile. I think there's going to be a lot of people like you, Cynthia, who are going to be like, I cannot believe that's true. I cannot believe that's true. I cannot believe that's true. Like 102,000. Because I mean, I definitely know people in 2022, like even before I was terminated. I mean, we were going through it, right? I mean, Bitcoin was getting hit. And I remember talking to team members at Banyan Hill when Bitcoin was at 20. And I wasn't sure if what was going to be the bottom, but I was like, the price is low, but I don't know if that's going to be the bottom. 20 felt like, you always feel like round numbers could be bottom, but it turns out in hindsight that 15K, approximately 15 and a half, was the bottom. And people bought. So I'm thrilled, stoked, happy for all of you. You know that we have told you this is coming. More is coming. Yeah, I think I'm at a loss for words at this point. I had a feeling that this might happen today, which is why I got live stream, because originally I had scheduled a live stream for Friday. And then I don't know, at 9:30, I was like, oh, I don't know, it's going to happen, because my way of thinking was that, well, when Tokyo opens, when Korea opens, and then Singapore opens, these are very large financial centers. They'll wake up and see 98, 99. They would be excited, interested. They'd come push higher. But it looks like, I mean, the buying came, but it came like a little bit later than I imagined. I just should have been a little bit more patient. But truthfully, it was kind of like more fun. It's almost like there was like the pre-show, and then we had the real show, the real show. Let's see, a couple more questions coming up here. Two stocks, Zoom and Teladoc. Yeah, we still own both of those in the silver tier, which is the closest thing to Profits Unlimited at ATG Digital. Zoom, truthfully, is a really, I mean, they're doing some amazing AI work. I think that's a very underrated AI play. And truthfully, the same is true for Teladoc. People don't remember, but Teladoc bought Livongo for their AI. So I mean, they're a lot. They both have incredible potential, and we still own it at ATG Digital, silver tier. What happened to make it jump? I don't really know, Tammy. I mean, if you go and look, I mean, someone clearly decided, like, hey, we're gonna buy. Like, here, look at this, right? I mean, literally, there is where I stop the stream, and then it starts to go up, and then from here, this is what's going on. Most likely, it was potentially short covering. A lot of people may have been shorting, anticipating that like it was not going to go over 100, and then at some point in time, these shorts start to get liquidated. The way they get liquidated is that they have to go buy, and then obviously as they buy, they start to push up the price, and then more shorts get liquidated who have to come in and buy. Oftentimes, these very large spikes are that, which is that shorts are being liquidated and they have no choice. They got to cover immediately, especially in the crypto world. There are 100 times levered contracts, 50 times levered contracts. So you can have these big jumps, and people are always betting with these things. So I had been told that there was something like $1 billion worth of contracts that would get liquidated at 100K. So, I mean, clearly at some point in time, just enough buying came in to like get it there that started to trigger a cascade of orders. And that looks like a huge short covering spike. That's what my best guess is. You're welcome. Yeah, it is 10:45. We've been on this live stream for an hour and 5 minutes. The previous live stream was for over 2 hours. Being that there's no questions more, let me say thank you to all of you for sticking with me, with us. Thank you to our team for making this moment possible. Congratulations. Well done. And more is coming. More is coming. I mean, we already got to 104. If I'm right, we'll be well into the 120s and 130s come year end. And then there's even more coming in 2025. All right. I'm going to end it there. Thank you all. We've got folks from, I think, all over the world. So for me, it's good night. Again, congratulations. Well done. You did it. You fought the good fight and you won. Congratulations. This is Paul saying thank you and goodbye.